Hi, I just want to welcome you to week 4, and I want to talk a little bit about where we've been and where we're going. So I have a PowerPoint up on the screen, and if you remember at the very beginning of the course, I had sent out kind of this framework so that you could see it as a whole, that you could see the process by which you were initiating and defining a project when you're up in these areas and you're completing these project knowledge areas. You're initiating and defining your project. Then you moved into planning, and so then you have some planning templates or knowledge areas, and then you are continuing to plan, and then you'll be moving into executing, controlling, and monitoring. Excuse me. And then we'll close out the project. So if you remember, I'm going to back up here for a few minutes, if you can just bear with me. We started out in week 1 where we were creating the proposal. So we had a goal in mind. We had a project goal. We were defining our project, identifying what the problem was or the opportunity, and defined it and decided what the solution would be. And then we were ready to propose it to a stakeholder. But then we also analyzed all of our stakeholders and our sponsor. As stakeholders, which could be your sponsor as well. And we went through kind of a management of them so that we can identify who the stakeholders are, who we're reporting to, who's contributing to the project, what part they're contributing. And it really helps you manage threats and opportunities that might arise, etc. So you're still continuing to identify and define the project. Then you had the sponsor announce that you were the project manager in a charter and asked everyone for their cooperation, which is critical in a temporary organization where you're having to dive in and build trust very quickly. You need people to collaborate with you on the team, and you want them to cooperate with you. Then you basically took most everything that's on your proposal. The project was now accepted and approved, and you put it into a statement of work so that you could then begin to build all of the other templates for your project. One part of your statement of work included a scope. And as we move into the planning phase, we will, or you began this last week actually, to break this out. Now, I want to back up for just a minute here. When you create that statement of work, you have major project activities. And those major project activities might be steps A, D, and L. But you ultimately have steps, no matter how many they are, whether they're 1 through 10, A through Z, or 1 through 50. You'll have a number of steps that you'll have to complete in order to get from the very beginning of the project to the very end. And so as you're moving through other templates, you're using that scope and expanding it. And as you were in your work breakdown structure, you're analyzing individual steps or sequences or tasks in that project so that you can adjust and manage the things that are going to be happening inside of that step. So that was the point of kind of breaking out or breaking down your work structure. And then you were analyzing in depth what your risks are, what conditions would have to be present for that risk to arise, what the trigger would be to set it off, and it's going to help you mitigate. It's going to help you reduce having issues, problems, or damages to the project. If you've ever heard insurance companies talk about mitigating, reducing damage, that's what we're trying to do with risk management. We're trying to manage those risks ahead of time. Now this week, you're going to be moving into time and cost. Now we're still working with that scope. We've expanded it into all of our individual steps, and we're going to take that time piece and we're going to insert it into a Gantt chart. If you've never heard of a Gantt project planner or a Gantt Excel sheet, what you're doing is you're able to lay out, if you look at the screen here, each of the steps in your project. Think about it as you will from step A to step Z, however many steps you have. And you're going to talk about what's the duration of each of those steps. And you begin to build over here what becomes your schedule from the very beginning start date to the very end. So you have a very good idea of exactly how many days you have for each step. You know exactly how long the project's going to take you. So when we talk about projects that this methodology, if applied, helps you come in on time, on budget, and with a higher quality project. This is the part that helps you come in on time, okay? The next template that you're going to be completing will be your cost template. Now that's a cost management plan. It's exactly what it says. It's going to help you manage those costs. How are you going to hire vendors? What type of approach will you take as far as deciding which ones get the job or which ones don't? How are you going to manage your costs? And so if you have any questions as you're moving through the cost management plan, please let me know. But this is going to help you come in on budget, on time, on budget, and high quality. Next week, you're going to be talking about more components that make a high quality project by being able to manage the team that you have, having the right talent, great, skill set on your team, communicating well. You're going to be working with them, and just keeping that project high quality by having meetings frequently and those types of things. So you're going to get an opportunity to go into executing, monitoring, and controlling next week, and making sure that your budget is high quality, or your project is high quality. So what you'll also be doing besides your forums this week, and then also your quizzes and your PM tools, is you'll be coming back and finishing or starting your cultural and global effects paper. Now you can submit that week 3 or week 4. It just gives you a little bit of extra time to work on it. Now for this particular paper, just pay attention to your APA. Make sure that you have the right amount of words in there, and make sure that you're really identifying and answering these 3 questions in your paper. So your paper is going to be essay format, where you'll have an introduction, you'll have 3 components to it, and you'll have a conclusion. So I hope that that helps to kind of get a high view of where you've been, where you are, where you're going, and what's due this week. If you have any questions at all, please reach out.